Hello, YouTube. This is Chilzer the Destroyer. Since everyone felt the need to tell me that there's apparently an order to this internet historian thing that I didn't know about, so let's all just be super fancy people and let's watch more of these. So we're gonna watch what I think is the first one, which is I Am Become Fancy Theater. So grab your snacky, grab your bevies. Let me know what you're eating or drinking down below. Let's get to watching.
Brought to you by NordVPN. Tisk, tisk, tisk.
Don't tisk me.
Look at you. Uncultured. Unsophisticated.
That's not true. I'm very cultured. Have you seen my room? Look how cultured I am.
Middle class.
Wow.
No.
Damn.
Don't speak.
All right.
You'll just make me throw up. I'd say cover up with this dinner jacket, but I'm afraid that you'd get your head stuck in the sleeve and asphyxiate.
Help, I'm stuck.
Listen, lowborn. Don't you want to be refined? Don't you want to be fancy, like moi? That's French. I don't expect you to know what it means, but I have some good news. Before this financial year ends,
Why am I watching this? Just to hurt myself?
I have decided to make a charitable deduction. It's you, champ! For you see,
You can have premarital sex.
This virus. I have made several videos, though, which will show you how to bluff your way to the inner circles. Undetected. Yes. By the time the elites find out,
Neon Genesis Evangelion is psychological and intense.
it will...
And there's a lot of Christian undertones to it.
will be too late. I get you in, you eat all the hors d'oeuvres, and we get out. That's the plan. And let's begin your instruction with...
You just sound like a rich guy that's bored of all the rich parties and you want to cause chaos. Like, this is what this sounds like. This is what, like, the chaos is either A, they are onto you and I get to see the fallout, or B, they are none of the wiser and I'm like, they don't know. Either way.
Theater. The YouTube premium of upper society. And the first section? Symphony. The first period of performance, that's called Baroque, from 1600 to 1750. This featured Bach and Vivaldi. Now, there was also a guy named Giuseppe Tartini, and he was the best one of them all, because one evening he had a dream where the devil showed up and presented him with a deal. The devil would become his teacher and impart on him everything he knew about music.
Drop the bass.
Once Tartini had learnt everything he could, he handed over his violin and asked the devil to play. The devil played the greatest musical piece that Tartini had ever...
This is not the greatest song in the world. This is just a tribute.
heard. Tartini woke up with a gasp, and he tried to recreate what he had heard in the dream. And what he wrote down was his most famous piece, the best thing he had ever written.
A tribute.
And he said, "This is shite compared to the original. This..."
After Tenacious D just ended. Yeah, that's probably why that came to my mind, to be honest.
"This is nothing better than a tribute." And that...
I was right!
That's where you get the Tenacious D song from. He named this piece The Devil's Trill, and he claimed that the difference between his version and the version in the dream was so great that he would have smashed his violin and quit music forever had he not needed it for his job.
Had he not needed
Classical,
the money.
1750 to 1830. Mozart and Beethoven show up like da-da-da-da. Now, Beethoven was famously known for going deaf. Once that happened, everyone told him that he should just quit music forever. But he just wouldn't hear it. Anyway, there's so much I could say about these two. Romantic era. Now,
there's so much moving on.
That's when everybody started kissing.
It sounds like you need to fucking open Wikipedia, just saying.
And it's my favorite. Great piece. Mwah. Oh, you played wonderfully too. Mwah. We also enjoyed listening. Mwah. Mwah, 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 mwah. All you need to know about this one is Chopin and...
Is everyone was macking.
And Berlioz. Berlioz, however, was not getting any kisses. He was relatably, painfully single, living alone in Paris, the city of love. So here's how it started. He's there and he's in his early 20s, and he is looking for a new GF. So one day he attends a Shakespearean play, and on stage he spots an actress, and he immediately falls in love with her. He wrote her many notes confessing his love, but her DMs went unreplied. So
he harassed the shit out of her, is that?
He began writing a symphony about her. How can she ignore this? And also around this time he started smoking a lot of opium, but don't worry about that.
Don't worry about that. That didn't help in the writing of the music process at all. No worries.
Anyway, so he wrote this piece just for her. However, his DM still went unreplied. For several months he started to get quite disheartened. Until he saw another girl. And
then he looked to his left, and there was another lady. And he was like, the new love of my life.
He immediately fell in love with her instead, and he said, you know what? I'm going to change that symphony I wrote, so now it's about this other lady, and not about that ugly one that I didn't like anyway. This time, happily, she reciprocated, and they fell in love and were set to marry. Suddenly, what the fuck? Phones haven't been invented yet. Yes, hello, I'm busy. Oh, Rome? To study? Absolutely, I'll catch the first flight out. So, Berlioz went to...
He was invited to study at the Villa Medici for 2 years.
Rome to study music. However, while he was away, he got some news.
Berlioz. I have to tell you something.
Hey, Jay. What?
Sacre bleu. Some other, more handsome musician swooped in and married his girl while he was in Rome, and they ran away together.
Should have tied that knot. Or taken her with you. I don't know, man. Something.
Berlioz was furious, and he set his mind to solving the problem.
Musically.
I know what I'm going to do.
Musically.
I'm gonna murder her and her lover.
Musically?
And her mom. And then I'm gonna do a self-murder.
Apparently not.
Alright, so this gets pretty elaborate. His idea...
Not a joke. This really is his plans as described in his memoirs. He would affectionately name the former mother-in-law to be as the hippopotamus. He described her especially because he believed she had set up the whole marry while away plan motivated to prevent Camille from marrying Berlin because he was poor.
Is to dress up as a housemaid. He has bought both poison and 2 guns. Now he is going to sneak into the house of his ex-fiancée, and there she and her mother will be sipping tea, which he has already poisoned. Then he will pull off the clothing and reveal himself. Blam, blam, sad overture.
Why do you need poison and a gun? I mean, I guess double tap, but like, that seems a little much.
So, he heads back home to Paris to do it. But while on his travels there, takes
Did he look to his right and there's a lady?
quite a while, he has to change carriages. And when he does that, he leaves the guns in one of the little cubbies.
Oh, he's incompetent. Good.
So he's lost all his weapons. What is he going to do now? Well, his next leg on the stop is Genoa. And he decides, you know what? Let's just skip the murder and go straight to the finale.
I feel like you weren't, like, super motivated, to be honest.
So he stops off in the port city of Genoa, and he's there at the side
Hold on.
of the finale. So he's...
This looks kind of like a dog. I think that's the dog's ear. You see it? You see a dog? I see a dog.
Stops off in the port city of Genoa, and he's there at the side of the Mediterranean. He pauses for a moment, then he throws himself in. Now, some people see this whole thing happen, and they think he's had an accident, so they run in to try to save him. They pull him to the shore. He lived. So he has now reached his lowest point.
He lived.
He dejectedly continues home. He gets back to Paris, and he wallows around, feeling pretty sorry for himself. But he decides, you know what? I may as well do what I do best in times of trouble.
Music.
Smoke a lot of opium.
And
while I do that, I shall write a symphony.
All right, yep.
Although I ain't gonna name it after that hoe who stole my heart. And so he went back to work. But here's the thing. It was the greatest piece he had ever written. And it premiered to a...
It's called the Symphonie Fantastique. Is a piece currently playing.
Huge crowd. And you know what? It was a smash hit. #1 on iTunes.
#1 on iTunes. Over BTS, huh?
Then, and here's a bloody plot twist. Remember the first girl? Well, she attended that concert, and she realized that Berlioz was a genius. And then she wrote a letter to your boy saying how good your bloody symphony was, and sorry about not replying, I just put my phone down and got super busy or whatever. By the way, I love you. And so Berlioz goes, well, I love you too. And a year later, they were married. It's a beautiful moral of the story. See, fellas, don't jump in the Mediterranean. Anyway.
Don't. Divorce Sophie. Don't jump in the Mediterranean.
A few years later, they got divorced. Because weirdly, he cheated on his wife with the housemaid. Not that one, a different one. But then he married that housemaid. Hooray. But then when he died later on, for some reason, he gets buried with both of them. It's kind of strange.
Here Harriet Smith, first wife, and Marie Riccio, housemaid and second wife. Buddy, what?
But moving on to the Impressionist musicians. Now that's Claude de what now? Claude de what? You know what? You'd better go to ad time.
Say it. Okay.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Nord Stream. Today we're playing Assassin's Creed 3. Chat, come on, chat. Hey, everyone's spamming Nord in the chat. Whoa, a new follower. Hey, welcome to the Dream Team Sub Cream. Thank you so much for great to see. Oh, unfollowed.
Unfollowed.
Sorry, guys. The cleaners are here. Sorry, just ignore the mess. I haven't cleaned up these bottles yet. No, it's just tea. It's just tea.
Mm-hmm. Bingus, hello, welcome.
I stream for 10 hours a day, and it's like the algorithm is against me or something. How come everyone is watching Asmon's stream, and I'm not getting any new followers?
I'm gonna answer you. One, because Asmon's a bigger deal than you. No offense, he's a bigger streamer. He's more famous. Two, there's like no algorithm on Twitch. There kind of is one now, a little bit, sort of. It sucks. Okay, you gotta post elsewhere, man. That's the answer. If you wanna, you have to make connections. You gotta post elsewhere. And I'm really bad about it because I don't talk to people. But since YouTube, that's my posting elsewhere.
I'm playing the games. What more do you want me to do? Just a quick word from the sponsor. NordVPN is the VPN that you can trust. So
Look
go
how
to
many people you got in your chat,
nordvpn.com/internethistorian for a huge deal on a 2-year plan plus 4 bonus months for free, plus a 30-day money-back guarantee. My God. Today we are going to be watching the new Snow White movie. I love the intro. Oh, I love seeing that Disney logo. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Guys, I'm just gonna get up and get some food. I'll be back. I'll be back in a minute.
Share stream. What the fuck is this?
What the fuck? Who reported my stream? Hello, my Nordlings. Welcome back to the stream. Can we get some ends in the chat, guys? No, not like that. Mods!
What's happening?
The ASMR stream for NordVPN. Today I'm going to be drinking a can of Coke while I say the word Nord. Ah, Nord. Hey, thank you for the tier 3 sub. With NordVPN, I can be outside my house, Jack's Film's house, Samito's house, Ordinary Things' house. Just like that. Welcome back to the hot tub stream. What do you guys mean? How many hot dogs can I put in my mouth? Why? I'll just...
What is happening?
$5,000 donation. Thank you so much. You guys are such good friends. Streaming's not for me. I'd rather go to nordvpn.com/internethistorian to get a huge deal on a 2-year plan, plus 4 months for free.
Okay.
And over.
Is this Twitch?
Watching Netflix, are you?
Twitch streamer. Yeah, I guess. Man, I don't go into Twitch feds, really. But I say that as a VTuber, so maybe I do. I don't know. I'm just a cat.
All tucked in with a 3-hour essay on Good Game Good, and here's why.
Fallout New Vegas is actually the only based Bethesda game.
Turn that off. I've got something for you much less enjoyable and far more expensive. We're going to the theater.
Why are these people looking at me in bed?
Theater, from the ancient Greek, theatron, the most dramatic of the Transformers. It means a place for viewing.
He turned into the, what is it, the globe? He turned into the globe?
Here's a Roman theater. They were quite simple back then. You have the stage, the auditorium, and the vomitorium. Now, for a very long time, people thought that the vomitorium was a place where the Romans would gorge themselves, where they would eat so much that they would throw up and then gorge themselves again because they were so decadent and or bulimic. But it comes from the word vomir, which means to spew forth, because that's where people go in and out. So vomitorium is just
that's just like the entrance and exit.
A dramatic way of saying the entrance. Now, if you skip forward to the 1800s, things are getting a lot more modernized. But they still didn't have electric. So they had what's called the limelight. And that's why they say, to be in the limelight, to be the star of the show. What they would do was take a piece of quicklime and heat it up super, super hot, which will naturally glow very bright. They would...
Okay, when heated to 2,400 degrees Celsius, the chlorine reacts with slacked lime to form sodium hypochlorite and calcium chloride and emits a bright white light.
Then take reflective mirrors.
Source was overheard on the bus.
And lenses to focus the beam, and they would use that as an early form of the spotlight.
All right.
The limelight is not because it's green, but because it's made from quicklime.
Thank you.
In the modern day, things are a lot more advanced, and they can do all sorts of cool shit with like lasers going into your eyeballs and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not just the tech that's had an upgrade, it's the architecture as well. In Elizabethan times, they had the yard, and you could get in here for about a penny apiece. And this is where all the poor people stood to watch the shows. It's like when you go to Oppenheimer and you end up with the worst seats in the IMAX theater, right? But thankfully, in modern times, we have fixed that problem. We kicked out all the poor people and we sunk the floor down low and put in an orchestra pit. Now, these things are usually 6 to 12 feet deep, so they're not obstructing the audience's view. But having a giant hole at the end of a stage is quite dangerous.
She's gonna walk off. Oh,
so usually they put a big net there as well. And yet, a lot of people still get pitted. Like a lot of people.
Oh,
in 2011, during a production of The Sound of Music, One of the lead actresses fell into the orchestra pit and was left paralyzed.
Oh! The accident occurred November 2011. Monica remains paralyzed from the waist down to this day. Yeah, if it's like 6 to 12 feet, that's a big drop. Like, Jesus.
From the waist down. In 2009, a conductor, not a superconductor, just a regular one, fell 14 feet into the dark pit.
14?
And broke 9.
Conductor made a full recovery and wrote 24 healing hymns during his recovery. He now plays these hymns for the sick and the elderly.
Vertebrae and 1 ankle. Mamma mia. And he fell on his pointy conductor.
The conductor took his college baton. He didn't actually impale himself with it.
Thing. At the Bolshoi Theater, a violinist died from his injury.
Viktor Sedov, the 65-year-old man, fell into the pit on the 16th of July in 2013. He survived the fall initially, but died the following day in the hospital. He had been working at the theater for 4 decades.
After falling into the pit. This theater is prone to all sorts of accidents, by the way. It's kind of cursed. But performers and musicians aren't the only ones falling into the pit. In 1988, an 82-year-old man fell from his balcony box seating all the way down into...
During the intermission, the man was sitting on the balcony rail. When an usher requested he not, he tipped over backwards and fell. Hey, don't do that. It's dangerous. I'm gonna do what I want!
to the pit during a performance of Macbeth. He died.
Oh,
Very spooky. Even already dead people are getting pitted. What? In 2016, a man sprinkled his friend's ashes into the orchestra pit at the Met Theatre.
Why?
This happened during the intermission, and it was a sort of tribute to a mentor of his. But of course, people went, "What the hell are you doing?" And he goes, "Oh, I don't know." And he flees the scene. Everyone's coughing and sneezing up dead guy, and people think, is this anthrax? What is this?
Yeah, that would cause a panic. That would cause a panic for multiple reasons. Even if you're like, no, this is just some dude's ashes, then it's like, I'm inhaling a dead person. What?
So they call in the anti...
The incident occurred on October 29, 2016. The man responsible, Roger Kaiser, was seen by several musicians sprinkling a white powdery substance in the pit. The ashes were of his friend Terry Turner, who died of cancer. He was not charged, and he wrote an open letter of apology. Okay.
Terrorism police, and the whole show is cancelled for the rest of the evening.
Surprised he didn't get at least sued, though.
A quick intermission.
Okay.
Or is it? Ooh, fiddle-tee-dee.
The Phantom of the Opera. I'm sad that I never saw it on Broadway. Like, not even, well, I say on Broadway. I'm sad that I never saw the Broadway Phantom of the Opera. Because I think they took it off. I think they stopped touring it. I don't know.
I am the trap master. Not like that. Do not ask me to reveal my secrets, woman. I have dedicated my life to the mysteries of the theater. The theater. She has so many enigmatic traps.
Bye. Hello.
Let us start with the most simple.
What's with the hot dogs?
The wall trap. It allows the actor to walk directly into the set piece. Where did he go? Nobody knows. Cast your eyes over here to the genie trap. Now the victim stands on this dumbwaiter, and a counterweight launches their hapless body up onto the stage. Wheesh! In the olden days, this...
Yeah, like, Psy gets air with that shit. There's a real standardization problem with the traps. When this covering is added, the whole apparatus is sometimes renamed a star trap, but the trap itself, the part that moves people on and off stage, is actually just the genie trap with a new covering. The genie trap isn't quite accurate either, because it's more of a colloquialism specific to the Aladdin stage play, referring to the trap as genie... referring to the trap the genie character uses. The better term would be spring lift, but in research we seldom found it used.
A circle of flaps would sometimes go on top, and then that would make the whole thing just one way. Now, back when they made this thing, they didn't have hydraulics. So instead, they'd have like 6 stagehands pulling as fast as they could. And sometimes it would go totally wonky, or it wouldn't open properly, or they'd only get about halfway through. Oh, well, I guess that's it. There's only 2. Wrong! This is the vampire trap. And if I want to come back up again, this is called the sunroof trap. Very cool. Watch out for the closing doors on this one. It managed to trap Spider-Man's foot.
On Thursday evening, Daniel Curry, an ensemble dancer and an understudy, was seriously injured after his leg became pinned in a trap door that appeared to have closed.
Put back into production in 2013. Me and the Green Goblin, we collabed on this one.
Daniel Curry, an ensemble dancer.
All right, there's one more. The Ghost Glide. What you do is stand on this slidey bit, and it ascends diagonally, which makes it look like he's coming out of the ground. But the ladies, they're yawning, they're going, ooh, short ghost. But then, 5 foot, 5'1", 5'2", all the ladies are turning their heads now, 5'3", 5'4", 5'5". All the ladies are loving it.
5'5".
Now, I bet you're wondering, what happens to the actors when they go down these traps? Are they dead and gone forever?
Are they dead?
Yes, sometimes. In 1888,
what do you mean?
Federici was playing the role of
I'm gonna assume a lot of accidents happened and it was very dangerous because, let's face it, some of these sound kind of dangerous.
Mephistopheles in Faust at the Princess Theatre in Melbourne. As he descended the trap at the end of the play, goodbye everybody, goodbye, he had a heart attack and died.
It was the 3rd of March, 1888, opening night. There was a doctor backstage who immediately attended to him, but he couldn't be revived. He was 37 years old.
Never seen again. So as you can imagine, with this many deaths, the theatre has become a highly haunted place. Oh yes. In fact, sometimes you can put your ear right up to the wall and you can hear 2 male ghosts wrestling. Can't fake that.
Yeah, they're 2 male ghosts and they're wrestling, and that's all that's happening there. You gotta wrestle for territory and space. Hey, Abby, that's what's happening.
Your NTR React was recommended by YT and really enjoy your content. Also surprised and happy to catch a stream.
Hello, Berserk Matthew. Thanks so much for the tip. I appreciate you. Yeah, a lot of people like that NTR song, huh? Anyway, welcome. Thank you so much.
Another ghost hole. Don't look in.
That looks jaggedy. Okay, that looks that looks sharp. That looks like maybe you don't want to stick something through that is fleshy. Oh my god.
Aside, I did once. Almost went blind. That's why I wear the mask. Anyway, because of all the ghosts, the theatres do whatever they can to keep the spirits happy. See this? It's called a ghost light. When everything is closed, it is kept on always.
Also said a lot of people don't fall off the stage and hurt themselves. It's a superstition, but also a useful liability thing.
Kept on for the ghosts, so that they don't, bump their shins in the dark or whatever. At the Palace Theatre in London, there has been some ghostly activity.
It seems to be a bit of a hotspot for ghostly activities.
And that's why they always keep 2 empty seats at the back, so that the ghosts may sit there and watch the show.
So that's
in the back only, bitch. You ain't paying.
Why we traditionally kept a couple of seats off sale for the ghosts. However, Harry Potter is so popular that we sell those seats now.
Oh. Also, most theatres close for 1 day per week, and on those days, the ghosts are left to perform for each other in their own shows. Which they like, we think.
I was worried about my own vagina.
Finally, the vagina monologues.
A culture of other vaginas.
Okay.
You know, I wasn't always part of the elite. In fact, From a very young age, I grew up in an orphanage.
Gasp.
No, my parents weren't dead. Rent in that building was just really cheap. But my parents...
No, I had parents. You're just running around.
Showed me no affection. And as soon as they could, they sent me off to boarding school. But boards were always their passion, not mine. I tried to run away, but they caught me. And boy, did they throw the book at me. Alas, I did not dodge in time. I spent the next few years in a coma. A Native American town, Pueblo, Acoma. And the people there taught me how to read American. They also had a local library, and I spent my days buried in books, learning as much as I could about the arts.
Ninja.
And once someone noticed me buried under those books, and they rescued me. I knew I wanted to teach default character presets like yourselves.
Damn. Default character preset. Dude over here looking like a default character preset. That is a burn. Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
About Shakespeare. Editor's note. I started Googling Shakespeare and I got kind of distracted, so I don't know. Here's a WAV file. You can do something with this. Put him in like a classroom or something. Alright, attention, everybody. I am your new teacher. You are a bunch of troubled inner city youths. All you know is shoot gun, fail test, and crime. But I'm here to teach you that actually, books and reading and stuff are actually pretty epic after all.
God, there's so many movies that are like that. I know that's why he's making the joke, but oh, Jesus.
Now, the earliest known written language is what, Mr. Single Parent Household? I don't know, Teach, but you're never going to get through to me. Oh, really? Well, what if...
Imagine going to class and your teacher ignores you and all of your classmates and does this one-man play of a teacher and a student where he's the student and the teacher. And, like, he just keeps doing this where he's just talking to himself. Like, honestly, I'd be paying attention because I'm like, this guy's a nut job. And, like, I have fear for myself and my safety. So, like, I'm going to be watching this guy.
If I go back in time. In the long ago, very few could read. But to be fair, most of the written languages were kinda shit. This is cuneiform, the very first written language, and it has far too much punctuation. Then eventually came along the Egyptians, and they invented emojis, but they would call them hieroglyphs. Anyway, the typical written thing would go like this. Message for you, sir. Big bird, man with stick, man sitting, circle. Oh, more bills. Eventually that became quite annoying, so the Phoenicians, who were a kind of Lebanese, very progressive, especially for those days. Now, they came up with a better idea. They started going, hey, that sounds a bit like an A. Buh, that sounds a bit like a B. Kuh, and so on and so on, until we had a proto-form of the alphabet.
It's more complicated.
Now, the Greeks thought that was pretty neato, but they said, let's come up with an even better version with 22 letters, and soon that will be like English.
Because they know what English is. Anyway, Sergeant Carl, hello, welcome.
Oral history. Greeks, more like geeks. Got 'em. Oh, yeah?
Again, I feel like this guy's a nut job, and I'm in danger.
Well, let me tell you about something highly relatable. Of the surviving Greek works, the greatest hits were the Iliad and the Odyssey. Now, because most people...
Also the Aeneid, but don't worry about that one.
Hey. This stuff wasn't written down for a very long time, and instead it was memorized and performed. And when they performed it...
I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd walk out. But then again, this is just me and like I'm not like that type of person that would just like, fuck it, I'm gonna walk out. So like, I don't know, but like, I would definitely be like, I'm gonna sit. Do I want to sit in the back or do I want to sit closest to the door? Because I do not feel safe.
They used one of these, a lyre. Now, this was great for conveying tone, right? So here's a soft bit, doo-doo-doo, but then this is a big dramatic bit. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Now, the Iliad starts with this guy, Menelaus, king of Sparta, and he has a wife, Helen, and she is a very fine lady. And then the Prince of Troy shows up. His name is Paris, and he goes, damn, shorty, awooga, awooga.
Damn, shorty.
That's what he'd say, right? And he and his boys abduct her.
It is both like cringe. It's like cringe, but also it's like this man is out of his mind. Like, oh my God.
And took her all the way back to his...
Like him trying to relate went too far, and instead of trying to relate to us, he just decided to be a caricature of one of us and pretend to be one of us. And I don't know what's going on, but this is insane.
Crib in Troy. Now this makes Menelaus quite miffed.
Hey, hold on there, Buster.
He declares a turf war, but he can't win it alone, so he calls on his homies. Odysseus, king of Ithaca, and Achilles, the best drive-by shooter of all time. But Achilles is not in the mood to fight.
Achilles won a beautiful maiden as a war prize, but Agamemnon, king of Mycenae, or whatever, took the maiden for himself. Achilles felt so dishonored by the whole thing, he refused to help in the Trojan War. Other versions include him being prevented from bad touching a particular woman of low nobility. It gets complicated.
So the whole of the Iliad is basically spent trying to convince this guy to get involved.
Please?
No.
Please?
No.
Eventually, they win the turf war by being very sneaky. They make a giant horse, which is the symbol of Troy.
Troy was especially known for its trained horses. They were seen as a symbol of the city's might.
And they leave it at the front gate. That's their way of saying, oh, I guess you win. We're walking away now. And meanwhile, thousands of soldiers go off and hide in some bushes. Now, the Trojans are very suspicious, but they can see that the Greek ships are actually sailing away into the horizon. So they know, oh, it must be real, must be real.
Some versions have the ship simply full of soldiers and them sailing back at night rather than hiding somewhere on land waiting for nightfall.
We've won the many years war.
Yay, high fives.
But actually, there's almost no one on those ships, and there's a surprise inside the horse.
A surprise?
Later that night, when everyone's asleep,
bum,
boiling
bum,
hot tzatziki everywhere. And also some soldiers wearing thermal protection.
There was no hot tzatziki's. It was some elite soldiers, SAS of their time, hiding in there. Some misunderstandings or oversimplifications of the story had the idea that an entire small army was hauled up in the horse.
They get out and they open the gates, and then everyone comes out of the bushes, running into the city, and kill everybody. After they win the war, Odysseus heads back home to Ithaca. However, on his way, he starts making beef with Poseidon, god of the sea. And Poseidon is mad.
As you do, I guess. Odysseus was supposed to give his thanks to the gods. Sort of, it's complicated. And then he blinded Poseidon's son, Polyphemus, the Cyclops.
At the disrespect. So he sends Odysseus on a long-ass detour, and that detour is the story of the Odyssey. Pretty epic, right, kids? Whoa, Teach, that's fire. I'm starting to come around. That Odysseus guy is literally me. Yeah, I'm gonna try that horse trick on my...
He's me for real, for real.
Ops. Homer, from Homer's Odyssey, is not a character in the story. He's the guy who tells the story, and then people wrote it down. Now, moving chronologically to the next big one, you've got the Bible. And for all practical purposes, this was basically an oral tradition too. Most people were illiterate by this point.
Literacy rates in the 1400s were around 10% for men and 1.5% for women, but it's more complicated because of the definition of literate often denoted the ability to read and write Latin and or Greek sometimes. To really learn literacy, one would go to a grammar school, but in the contemporary sense of literate, where you can sound out most things and roughly get by, what they would call legier? I don't know. Up to half the population may have had this skill set according to some sources. When you think about it, it makes sense. Otherwise, why have signs like Yield Tavern if only a few people know what it says? Parchment and paper manuscripts. Okay.
And the Bible was written in Latin.
Okay,
and pretty much
hello,
only
welcome.
the clergy knew Latin. So they would be
Sorry.
the one to recite it to people.
It says that the cute lady at the front should go on a date with me, please. Listen,
That's
the rules are the rules. I didn't say it, the book did.
There was a translated
The
version
book
into
did.
English, the Wycliffe's Bible. And you better believe that thing was a threat to the order. So they made that
Fucking ye old English, though. Y'all ever had to read the Canterbury Tales? This is off subject. Y'all ever had to read the Canterbury Tales? Like, fucking ye old English. It's
illegal to own.
illegal to
And
own
if you were
it?
found
Damn.
with an unlicensed copy, the punishment would be death.
Damn.
So it remained. The Bible was read to the people. Now, by the 1300s came Chaucer, who wrote the Canterbury Tales, and that was a
Yep, all right.
pretty big deal.
Get this book now.
Because it's one of the first significant works written in Middle English.
Fucking Canterbury Tales. I didn't pre-watch anything. I'm just like, oh man, fucking. You know, I didn't read the Canterbury Tales until college. And I'm so grateful for that, because I don't know if I could do that in high school or middle school. Like, fucking, motherfucking Canterbury Tales.
It describes a bunch of people making a pilgrimage from Southwark to Canterbury, which is here to here, which was the longest journey anyone had ever made in the 1300s.
This is not
now,
true.
it's a whole series of stories. And most
In the 1300s. When did the Silk Road happen? Because, like, the people, the Holy fucking Roman Empire, like, all this other, there's plenty of people that have gone further.
most of them can be boiled down to, how come if everyone is on a pilgrimage, you're all so focused on material stuff? Oh, hypocrites much? Dong. It's now the 1600s,
Okay.
and they've updated all the textbooks from Middle English to regular. In
Yellow
1601,
shop. Yeah, I couldn't go back and read the Canterbury Tales. I don't remember anything about the Canterbury Tales. I just remember they were difficult to get through because of ye old English, or what, midi English, whatever the fuck. It just y'all, like, I make jokes about how literate I am now in normal ass fucking English, and I just no, thank you.
King James I said, all right, you know what? Let's everyone have a copy of the Bible they can read. Let's do a King James Bible. I won't feature in it, but I'd love to be in the title. And he commissioned a committee of scholars.
Oh, Kaya, hello. Thank you for the raid. Welcome, guys.
Pat.
Hello, Pat Head. Thank you for Head Pat. Thanks for the follows. Welcome. What are you guys doing?
To rewrite the thing in English, God's language.
Now I can't speak Spanish or anything.
It took 8
Jesus
years.
Christ.
And that brings us to Shakespeare. And he's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Oh, look, we're out of time. But sir, we're supposed to do penis inspection day today.
The what?
No, there's no time.
Run the
Roll
fuck out
the
the
in
door.
card.
Run the fuck out the door. Run the fuck out the door. Leave. 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 You're in danger. I told you the vibe of this teacher was off.
The end. Alright, that's the lesson. You watched the whole video. Or at least, you had it on in the background while you scrolled your phone. And I couldn't be prouder of you. There's just one more quick thing I want to tell you about. Theater. For example, this gun.
Excuse
Now,
me. Oh,
the thi-
props. Okay. I was like, what?
Look who it is. I know what you're thinking, but it's just an actor. We all know that the real Lincoln is dead. You know, when he fell asleep on the tracks of the Underground Railroad.
What?
Anyway, this thing is super realistic. Although the trigger is a little loose. Ruh-roh. Oh, I can't believe you did that. But I won't tell anyone. And, you know,
in fact, good news. Did that?
I'm gonna make you my little protege. And
Is this how he ends all of these? Like, is this just how he ends the fancy series?
Will be your proto-show.
Proto
and
what?
I got so many more lessons to teach. Still here, huh? Yes, just a little cleaning. More good news. Next video is almost done. It'll be on incognito mode, and it's about the arts. And the next main channel video is also nearly done. That'll be out shortly after. If you're looking for more content in the meanwhile, we have another channel called Story Mode. The Metal Gear Solid and Forspoken videos are especially good. Don't forget NordVPN. Thank you for watching. More soon.
Okay, so he ends every fancy video by accidentally killing somebody, blaming you, and being like, you could be my protege. That is what I'm catching from this. So what I'm catching from the vibe. Just, oh my God. Anyway, that was I Am Become Fancy Theater by Internet Historian.